All right. We're just going to hope for the best here. So
That's all we ever hope for here on the Console Crusade podcast.
the Console Crusade podcast.
Unbridled, hopeful.
Unbridleable.
Unbridleable.
Speak for yourself. I am ready, willing, and able to be bridled.
Console Crusade podcast. Chris is ready to be bridled. I'm EJ Olson. I am with, as always, Victor Hem.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bridled.
Oh, okay. Let's workshop that one. Chris Gillifor.
The princess bridle.
Oh boy, this is just getting worse. Drew, don't do this to me. We're with Drew Stevens.
I've been here the whole time.
Listen carefully on past podcasts. You'll hear a little chuckle in the background sometimes.
I whisper sweet things.
Today, Astro Bot Rubric review. The Goob rubric. The impressions, the thoughts.
And prayers.
Thoughts and prayers for Little Big Planet. What's that guy's name? Sackboy, who they just killed in order to birth Astrobot. Rip Sackboy.
He showed up for a second.
Sackboy is still here. He's here with us right now. Chris Gillifor.
Oh, that's good. I get that.
Nick, is there anything you want to chat about before we dive into Astrobot? I know you haven't bought a PlayStation 5 yet, so you didn't get to enjoy this with us.
No, there's still like nothing worth it on there for me. Splatoon, you and I played a smattering of splattering. A combined maybe, hour and a half, 2 hours? Playing the Grand Festival, the final big deal Splatfest for Splatoon 3. Blinking, you'll miss it. I mean, it feels like that game came out months ago, but it's been 2 years. And I feel like, Splatoon 2, did that get a similar sort of 2-year lifespan? Or was it more like 3 before they gave up on it? I can't remember exactly.
Like it was longer.
It feels like it was longer, but it was also pre-COVID.
True.
So nobody actually knows. Maybe the DLC came out. That was like a year later that came out because it was 2018 for the Octo expansion. And then the expansion for Splatoon 3 just came out this year. So that was like a 2-year little gap. That got delayed a little bit into this year. But yeah, I don't know. The 3-way Splatoon team battle thing, still not great.
It sucked.
We spent way too much time doing that the first time because somebody made the lobby and decided that was the play mode that we were going to be doing. And I was like, I was just along for the ride, but somebody, I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to say who, but some idiot decided we're playing 3-way Splatfest. So it's like, oh, if we're stuck on the team where it's just the two of us, neither of us are that good. We haven't played in over a year. So we got trounced frequently. But if we were on the team that was in the middle, defending against 2 other teams of 2, we had the 4-person team. We'd fared a little bit better there. But it's still weird. I feel like in the next one, if they do the 3-way teams again, I really hope they do 4v4v4.
It's 4 and then 2 teams of 2, right?
Yeah, I understand it because their netcode is bad. So like it would buckle under the weight of 12 connections.
Yeah.
But we didn't have any disconnects. I mean, it was good. Like the gameplay was rocking. The gun balancing every time EJ dies, like I gotta use the gun that killed me, and he didn't do it. But then he was like, "Why are they killing me in one shot? I can't kill them at all." It's like, well, I don't know. They're probably better than you.
I'm getting one shot by everybody. Drew, of course, we played the shit out of Splatoon 2 and our former group chat. We played a lot of Splatoon 2, and then Splatoon 3 came out. Did you play a lot of Splatoon 3?
I think I played consistently for the first 2 or 3 months with y'all and Leaf, and haven't touched it since.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a circumstance thing, but I'm realizing / kind of remembering that I fucking hate Splatoon 3. I fucking hate everything about it. I like playing with my friends.
Spam and run.
Salmon Run is good. Salmon Run is always good. Salmon Run is just a classic experience with the boys. I like playing with you. I like just hanging out. I was just every time I died, I was like, what the fuck? I hate the fucking arcane, obtuse systems Nothing makes sense. You have to go and talk to someone every time you want to like do anything minor, and it's like just 20 minutes of dialogue you can't skip. Nothing about this experience is fun. The controls are imprecise and mushy as hell. Was it always like this? Is it me who's changed?
It's you who's changed.
Fuck!
Yeah, you've been playing way too much Call of Duty, and this game is not Call of Duty. It's slow on purpose. It is a third-person shooter on purpose. It's for children. So it's going to be a little bit weird. And also, it's like 4 motion controls, and neither of us use that because we're adults. But it's also, it is for that. It is faster if you use motion controls. Yes, I totally agree that they better goddamn get rid of all, like half, if not all, of the different currencies. Like, there's too many different shellfishes that you're collecting, and then you trade them for this other crap, and then it's a gacha pull to like get ability chunks to get on your weapon. It's just mobile game bullshit.
It's stupid.
Injected into this otherwise perfectly good game. Like, they just overcomplicated it with like roulette wheels and hamster wheels to like keep dangling a little incentive in front of your face when it's not actually that appealing. But anyway, it's still a lot of fun to play, and I had a good time. It was big chilling. It was nice. You didn't end up hopping back in with me later before it finally wrapped up yesterday, Sunday, at like 5 o'clock. But I was playing up until it was over.
Did Team Past win?
Team Past did win.
Let's fucking go.
Nice.
And it was really cool, like the way they had it set up. I think they did something similar with Splatoon 2. Drew, maybe you remember, but they had like a new arena that you went into, like the hub world, the city that you usually go into. With the DLC, they added that you could go back to, I don't remember the actual names.
Inkopolis?
Like, you're in the Flatlands, you can go to Inkopolis. That was from Splatoon, like 1 or 2, I don't remember actually. But you can like go back and change your hub theme, and it's more just like an aesthetic choice, because otherwise you're just menuing through the different places you're going. But in this one, you're actually at this festival that was being put on. So it was like, Warp Tour, Bumbershoot, or Electric Daisy, whatever, on all the different like trippy festivals that everyone's like railing Molly and like licking each other. It's like that, but for squids and kids.
No!
Wait, this game sounds great. Doing Molly and licking each other?
Yeah, I mean,
why didn't you tell me this sooner? I would have been on the Splatoon train forever ago.
Like, you're like, you're just like all like everyone's all hyphied out and just like running through sprinklers of like different colored paints and inks being blasted at you, and you go to different festival, like the different stages. There's like the main stage and then the 2 different smaller stages that they all like rotate between, but they're actually playing the ending songs from each of the previous games.
Oh, nice.
So like Callie and Marie are like singing the ending song from Splatoon 1, and Pearl and Marine are singing the ending song from Splatoon 2, and then Big Man, Shiver, and Fry are doing the ending song for Splatoon 3. So it's like a big celebration. It was a good send-up. It was really nice vibes. You could like go take photos and like, just enjoy yourself. So that was cool. It was nice to like end my session of, I played for about an hour just by myself, just like queuing up over and over. Had a lot more disconnects that time. Tell you what. People were, yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. It was weird though. It was like the ones where you start a match and like within 5 seconds it says, oh, someone disconnected, so we're just going to kick everyone. Because at that point it's like they can't queue up another person, I guess. I don't know. But that happened like 3 or 4 times in the hour I was playing. And then by the time I was done, I just sort of popped out and like went and like parked my character in front of the main stage and just had that on in the background while I was scrolling my phone, just like soaking it all in. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself.
I really need to go back and play the single player campaign, probably in 2 and 3.
3 was really, really good. I think 3 is the best single player campaign that they've done.
Really?
The story implications? Yeah, dude, you meet Mr. Grizz of Grizzco fame.
The Philadelphia Grizz?
Yes, one and the same. The eponymous Grizz.
It's so funny because like Splatoon 1, I only played the single player campaign. I hardly touched multiplayer. And then Splatoon 2, I flip-flopped. We played so much multiplayer. I didn't even start the campaign. My little brother started on my Switch, and I watched him for like an hour one time. And I just never went back to it. And I'm like, maybe I just got to swing back the other way and just I like a good action platformer, and the ink mechanics are sick. So, maybe I I'm retired from Splatoon, okay? I'm a different man now.
Until the next one.
They'll reel you back in.
Splatoon 4 will turn it all around.
I have zero faith in Nintendo doing anything good or competent when it comes to like anything that they haven't been doing for 30 years already. So you think the fourth iteration of this game is going to fix their online ecosystem? It's going to fix all the other fucking crappy Japanese, like you said, Nick, they got the gotcha pulls and 19 currencies, and there's no explanation about how any of it works. So just something like simply picking a loadout is the most convoluted, impossible fucking thing.
It's like a freemium game, but there's no in-game current. Like you can't put money into it. So it doesn't make sense.
You give them all your money up front instead of after you've decided you like this game. So like me, you have a $60 paperweight that you play once at the beginning of its lifespan and once at the end.
Oh, God. I have too many $60 paperweights.
Well, that's just because you're a Lego fan, dude.
Well, that and
only
a bunch
60
of PS3 games
PS3 games
still in their wrappers.
from back in the day?
Yep.
Wait, what kind of games? What are we talking about here?
He's looking.
The fourth Sly Cooper game, because they did the like HD trilogy, then they came out with a fourth one, Sanzaru. And then I just never touched it. And I think I've got Uncharted 3 that I never touched because I never finished the second one.
Dang, man.
There's a few others in there too.
The Foreman grill, I still love that body shape.
18 years ago with the Spider-Man font.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I want to time slip into the dimension where we got that fucking boomerang controller. I don't even care if it would have been horrible to hold, but that thing was so fucking cool.
Just think about everyone hitting their little brothers with it. It would have been perfect.
I could throw it into the kitchen to retrieve another drink for me, and it'll just come right back.
That's the home button before the home button.
Nick, have you watched anything about Astro Bot, or have you just kind of seen some of the online impressions? What's your context for this conversation we're about to have?
I've seen like some clips people share and watched some opening sort of moments, I guess, like not even hours, just like probably the first level
Okay.
for extended gameplay. Very minimal is my impressions, considering this is based on what the three of you have said, probably about a 15-hour experience, all things said and done. Like 100%ed, platted, no plat, no chat.
Yeah. No plat, no chat.
No plat, no chat, baby. Chris got up early this morning and put into work to finish that bad boy up. I appreciate that.
I sure fucking did.
What was your final time?
16 hours.
There's two angles, personally, that I am coming at this from. And the first angle, the shocked reaction I had to it getting a 95 on OpenCritic, universal praise, the highest reviewed game of the year, the second highest PlayStation exclusive game in like the modern era? Or is it tied for the first?
Behind what? Like what's...
Oh, let me see what Last of Us is. It's tied with the first God of War,
the
I think.
modern era, 2013's The Last of Us?
Yeah, well, I think modern era, Nick, I think of since OpenCritic started aggregating these games. Considering, Nick, that The Last of Us came out on PS5 a year ago, like, yeah, I'm going to consider it the modern era.
Modern, it's been remastered 4 times.
Didn't Skyrim come out last year, EJ?
I think Astro Bot might be the highest rated PlayStation exclusive.
Probably.
Holy shit.
No way.
Wow.
Maybe like Shadow of the Colossus back on PS2? I don't know.
That came out in like 2013, 14.
I've got these contrarian impulses. When I saw it was the highest reviewed game of the year, I was like, come on. It's a fucking platformer. Then again, Mario Odyssey got a 97. And I am comfortable saying that this is probably a better game than Mario Odyssey.
Thank you. Thank you.
But so I was like so desperate to be like, okay, come on, people are crazy. This game's reviewed 10 points too high. But also comparing it directly to a game like Mario Odyssey, but also like, you know, I platinumed all the Spyro games last year and I played Astro Bot last year, platinumed that. So Nick, for you, obviously you haven't played it, but if you're able to kind of pick at the edges of some of the things that we had to say and like...
I'll ask questions.
How it stacks up to something like Mario Odyssey. And that's my thesis. Astro Bot's better than Mario Odyssey, but also 95 is too high. So what does that say about Mario Odyssey? That's a different conversation. I don't think I have to necessarily be like, fuck Mario Odyssey because I like that game. But these mascot platformers, they just inhabit a very weird space in the gaming industry. Let's jump in. The Goob rubric. For those uninitiated, the Goob rubric. We break it all down. Good, okay, obnoxious, bad, and we'll cap it off with a favorite moment or two. But let's just go top level thoughts at first. And Drew, we'll start with you. Top level thoughts. You platinum this game. What do you think?
Okay, so first off, it looks absolutely beautiful. It runs absolutely beautifully. The haptics coming from Astro's Playroom, the tech demo that PS5 came downloaded with, everything is so much tighter. Because after this, I went back and realized they added a couple more trophies to Astro's Playroom. So I just jumped in there to finish that out. And they tightened it up so much. Like, you think it's 1-to-1, but like, even just charging up your little spin takes like 5 seconds longer in the first one, which is like a long time. So yeah, it's just, the controls are so tight. The haptics are phenomenal. I think Sony mastered what Nintendo was trying to do with HD Rumble, because Nintendo's never once utilized that for anything other than 1-2 switch.
Mm-hmm.
1-2 switch.
Sony fucking knocked it out of the park with this thing, and it's barely something they even like brag about.
Traditionally, are you a big platformer guy?
Yes, mascot platformer collectathons. That's my jam. Spyro, Crash, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Dax. Those are like my go-tos. I can play them 1,000 times and never get bored. So it's nice to see that almost extinct genre kind of having a bit of a resurgence, especially with all the HD collections we've gotten over the last 5 years or so, with the Reignited trilogy, the Insane trilogy. We're getting some Ratchet and Clanks ported onto the PlayStation, store. So it's nice to see someone realize that there was a gap in the market that clearly people have been clamoring for. I mean, I'm going to also agree with EJ. I don't know if I would go as high as a 95 for reasons we'll get into, but I think a solid 90-91 is totally reasonable. But I mean, overall, I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed every moment I had with it.
Chris, you were on a little bit of a time crunch. The game came out last week, and you were gone for several days. And we said, we're recording with Drew Monday. We got to have it platinumed, 100%ed by then. So you kind of did a little speed run with Astro Bot.
Yeah, I started last Tuesday and played most every day. I think the first couple of days I didn't get to do very much because we typically go climb on Tuesdays. Yeah, there's a couple days I didn't really put a whole lot of time in, but Friday night, I sat down and did like a whole world in like 45 minutes. Saturday, when we got done with, we had a bunch of stuff going on Saturday, so I didn't get to touch it at all until we got home, and I did a couple of things, and then was like, okay, Sunday I'm gonna have to like sit down and knock these last couple of worlds out. But it really didn't take that long. Once you get into the rhythm with some of these like more challenging stages, it's literally just a matter of time until they go down, which is what I found. Yeah, it did not impede my experience, though. I was kind of worried it was going to. The only way it was going to impede my experience is if this morning, like I sat down at like 9:50, maybe 9:55, was like, I have to leave at 11 o'clock. I have to be out the door at 11 o'clock. That is the amount of time I have to do the last challenge stage and to grab the last couple of trophies, which didn't take any time at all. The trophies didn't. But I was like, okay, it's now or never. Like, if I don't get this done, it's just literally not getting done before the podcast. So I'm glad I did. I would have felt crappy if I like stumbled over the finish line, like not quite finishing it all up before we could talk. Then I would have felt crunched. But no, it was great. Top level stuff. This is just like a serotonin overload. It is just like the happiest thing I've ever played in my life. Like, it just, every single moment of this game is joyful and bright. Even the levels that are like not literally bright are still like really happy and fun and engaging. Drew, like you said, the use of the DualSense to immerse a player design wise is astounding. It's amazing. I've never experienced anything like it, and it makes you wonder why the fuck no one else is using this when it, like, Team Asobi literally was just like, what's good? Like, y'all can be better than this. You could be way better than this. Like, studios that have way more money and way more manpower and way more resources and time and are just not using this thing at all. There's like no excuse now. like the gauntlet's down. It's a major part of what makes this game so interesting and fun. And I just my little sort of like burst of, excitement about getting to pee on the tire of Mario Odyssey one more time out of spite. I needed that. I needed to get that out. But truthfully, this actually really makes me want to revisit Mario Odyssey because I feel like one of the big things that makes this game so good is that the core mechanics are really fundamentally sound. They feel good. You know exactly what everything you do at any given time is going to do and how it's going to respond. And then in the challenge stages, they force you to like be really good at doing those things really fast. And then introducing powers that they meaningfully design levels around and then iterate on how they're used in subsequent levels further down the line. So it's not just like, oh, I'm doing another level with this thing. It's like we are pushing you to think about this differently, or we're designing the level in a way that's going to challenge you to use this power in a way you didn't have to before. Or we're just going to make you get good with this particular power. Kind of doesn't sound that dissimilar to a lot of the Cappy stuff in Super Mario Odyssey, where they're getting you to different worlds and they're like, here is your core power you're going to use in, like Food World, my favorite, right? When you're like surfing around the soup like a big meatball and like jumping out of soup cannons or whatever. I'm like, oh shit, maybe I need to give that another shot and see how I feel about it, because I think that's a lot of what this game does really well. Loved every single minute and can't wait to talk about it.
Astro's Playroom, enjoyable. It was short, and by the end of it, I was ready for it to be over. Astro Bot is a game. I ran the whole gamut of emotion with this game. Like, I started off as a little lukewarm, and I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, it's okay. And then there was like a 2 or 3 day period where I was like literally addicted. Like, every morning I got up and all I could think about was like, okay, I got to go like hop in and grind out a level. And then I'd be working and I'd be like, okay, I can take a break. I can just hop over and just do another level. And then by the end, I was so ready for it to be over. So I really, like I said, I ran the gamut. Chris, you nailed it. This is, for the most part, not a particularly, action or skill-oriented platformer. It's about exploring these quirky little vignettes and interacting with the world in interesting ways. The skill challenges definitely ramp it up exponentially, and those are fun.
They're gonna push you.
This game was a lot of damn fun. Definitely, if I'm looking at it as like a generational title. I mean, I think platformers in general have a ceiling. For me, it's like the best platformer, I just don't think in the current age of gaming can be like the best game available. Like, there's just, games do so much now compared to 30 years ago, but like, it's one of the best platformers I've played for sure.
I just want to ask you, EJ, what better game that's come out this year have you played?
Well, as a person who hardly plays games, I don't think I'm qualified to answer that question.
He gotcha.
I'll answer.
Okay, Chris, where does this rank on your current GOTY nom list?
It's either number 2 or it's 1B with Rebirth. This game's fucking amazing, honestly. And I think if it were so easy to just like make a competent platformer, more people would do it, and they don't, because they can't. Even we just saw a new Crash game recently. That's like low 80s. We got a Spyro
sold gangbusters
4
too
coming, which is great and speaks to what Drew was saying, that like there's this soft spot in the market now.
There is incentive to still make these kinds of games too. It's not just Nintendo that succeeds and sells these games. Other publishers have had a history of making them and succeeding with them as well.
This game puts a lot of pressure on the next Spyro game or the next Crash game. Like,
Definitely.
the expectations are through the roof. I do not want to play a 79 Spyro game. Not interested.
EJ, I got bad news about Croc.
Croc has always been bad. I don't know why this is such a long-running bit.
I'm just saying they're remaking it. It's confirmed. We haven't talked about it on the podcast, but you're excited about that. I'm excited about that. I never got to enjoy OG Croc, but like you said, it's not going to have the kind of meticulous polish that something like this has. I
have no doubt it's going to be middling.
You know we're goobing Croc, though. You know we're playing Croc.
I'm confused because they announced it and they released like a trailer, and I'm like, that's the remake, or is that like it's like an upscale? I'm like, this looks horrible, so I'm not excited about it.
That's a remaster. That's what typically that's what remaster means, EJ. It means, hey, it's the game again, but with slightly more polygons, and we ran this texture pack through an upscaler, and here you go.
I'm not interested in it at that level. I when I first read about it, I was imagining something akin to the Reignited trilogy, which was fucking awesome.
Same.
You are sweet child. No. Come on now.
We've been spoiled.
You think Argonaut Studios? They're just going to be like, yeah, we got this huge venture capital injection of $100 million so we could make something as good as the Crash trilogy remake. No.
First of all, I said Spyro, not Crash. Second of all, if that trilogy costs $100 million to make, everybody in that boardroom should be lined up and fucking shot.
That game sold very well.
As it should have.
If it cost $100 million, it definitely made more than that.
Games just cost too much to fucking make.
Everything costs too much to make, EJ, because it costs a lot of people to make these things because they're big.
So, good. Great even, one might say. The G on the Kubrick. Drew.
The first thing that comes to mind, and I just remember when I noticed this, it was just like, why did they put this much detail? Like, everything they did was such a little gift for us. But the level where you get the little mouse backpack and you shrink down, if you punch the tree, all the apples fall down. If you look at them, they all got little like microchip lines on them. And it was just like, ooh, you made this detail for people who are going to go punch this tree, get shrunk down, and stand next to an apple. And it was just like, that is so cool. Like, and it was shiny and wonderful. And yes, you walk past it and your controller jiggles a little bit. It's just like, man, that tickles my lizard brain. Something in that is just like, I need it. And they delivered, and it's fantastic.
The attention to detail is good, and the cohesive like level design, where like obviously the whole conceit is that like you're living in this robotic world, and so even when you're playing these like you're underwater level, and you're playing a volcano level, and you're playing the Luigi's Mansion level, like everything still has just a little bit of that sort of visual character that like ties in. So you're like, oh, this is still the same world, you know?
Yeah. But there's just the level aesthetics, the haunted house levels, the Luigi's Mansion one that you mentioned, the like feudal Japan kind of ninja samurai style levels.
Level.
They were just beautiful. I mean, even just gameplay out of it, they were just absolutely gorgeous to look at. And the level variety, you know, granted there wasn't a huge number of levels in the game, which is something that I'll bring up later. But the level variety was top notch. You never felt like you were revisiting the same level. Like I think is a problem with most Mario games. A lot of the levels feel really samey. There are obviously standouts, you know, in every Mario game, but a lot of them just, it's the other ice level, or, it's the other magma level. These all felt so unique, even when they were, you know, themed the same. They brought a level of polish to them that really distinguished them. And that with the power-ups really helped, distinguish them too.
See, I thought this game was like the perfect length. Like I did not want any more by the end.
I would agree with that if it wasn't $60. If it was $50, which I guess is now the new $40 budget game, I'd be okay with a 15 and more game. Like it was still fantastic and I loved every minute of it. and the level of polish was fantastic, but like to charge 60 for 15 hours, which I'm sure some people got through it faster.
It's the Spider-Man 2 problem, you know?
No. That is way more egregious. Yeah, no, 60 felt perfect for this because it was extraordinarily polished. If this had been like a decent experience and 15 hours and cost $60, then I'm like, really? But like every fucking millimeter of this game is beautifully polished. I felt like it was worth that. I felt like it was worth that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't regret that it cost $60. Like, I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, part of me is like, it would have been slightly easier to swallow if it was, $5, $10 cheaper. That's it.
To your point about like level diversity, Drew, that is definitely on my list. Not only aesthetically is there such a range, but you nailed it. It never feels like you're jumping into a level you've already played before. Like everything felt different almost every time you jumped into a new level. And I really like that they balanced like, most of the levels are linear, basically running down long corridors to mini arenas. But like they had a decent number of like open concept levels.
For sure.
Which was just a nice little change of pace. Like it just, every time you felt like, God, I'm ready to do something new, the game gave you something new. Like the pacing is flawless in this game.
I do think it's a great mix. We talked about Insane Trilogy and Reunited Trilogy. Crash is very much a platformer game. It is a very like skill-oriented platformer game. Spyro is much more an exploration game. I think this hits right in the middle. It's the perfect blend of precision platforming and exploration. And because I grew up with both of those franchises, it's that sweet spot for me.
Dude, it absolutely does. And what those two genres do very well when they're hitting on all cylinders, and that is that they reward your curiosity consistently
Exactly.
in the way that is always meaningful, even if you're not necessarily like picking up a collectible. So like if you look at something and you go, I'm pretty sure I can get over there, and you get over there, there's going to be a bot. There's going to be a puzzle piece. If it's not readily apparent what it is, one of the big coins, even that, like just climbing up on top of something, we're like, oh, I got up here. That's so cool. And then that little row of coins pops up. It's just like, hey, nice job. And it just those little tweaks of like, God, I love that shit. I love when my curiosity is rewarded. And even in the way, like you said, Drew, of looking at the little details, like the little microchip apples, like, oh my God, I love that. I love that when you punch the trees to knock them down, depending on what material they're made out of, like you get a very different sound cue out of the DualSense and a very different rumble using whatever their HD rumble is to like clearly differentiate. Like I just hit a palm tree versus I just hit a piece of metal that's shaped like a tree. And in little things that I didn't notice even until the challenge stage, as I'm like hitting these grind rails to get through some of the early parts of that. Maybe it was a different one. Doesn't matter. But I'm on this grind rail and I'm like, holy shit, I'm on a green grind rail. And I'm like, these sparks are fucking triangle shaped. Every single one of the grind rails kicks up sparks that corresponds to the shape that is that color on the original PlayStation controller. I was like, that's amazing. Just that I happened to be looking at that one. Those are triangles. And hopped over to the blue and like, oh, those are fucking crosses. What the fuck? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a true labor of love. That team just, you can tell they were making a game for themselves. Like they're PlayStation fanboys through and through. They love the history of PlayStation. They're probably grew up playing mascot platformers, and it shows that they were able to take what had been missing from, video games for the last 10 years or so and really just lay it all on the line in this one.
Isn't it hilarious that they're doing this send up that's like a congratulations to all of Sony history, but Sony doesn't want to do that themselves? You can't even buy a DualSense that has colored face buttons. How messed up is that?
Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
This could be your first console. Be like,
Fucking
why
stupid.
is this color a triangle? Like, why is the triangle green? That doesn't make any sense. Because they don't care anymore about that color history.
That should have
That's
been one of the
unfortunate.
first colorways you could buy.
Oh, it should, and hopefully it will after this. I want the Astro Bot DualSense now, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Like, I love this
me
game
too.
enough to like pay for a second controller. In the Astro style with little eyes on the touchpad and everything. Fucking give me that. Maybe too early for this, but I want to offer it anyway, just in terms of like history of PlayStation and Sony and stuff. It's just one particular moment that like has to be in the great column. When you're getting ready to go to battle, you're riding the PS5 ship into battle, and Astro hits all the buttons, throws all the switches, and his little command panel just changes to a like triangle, cross, circle, square. And he looks around and he smashes it, and we just get the door opening and light hitting the original PlayStation with that boom, like the PlayStation boot up sound. I was so fucking hype. I was like, yes, to battle. Like, that was so fucking tight. And then as you're like going through the whole final level, they're like fucking surfing on memory cards and like shooting blasts from them. And like, here comes the Vita to like swoop in and save you from a group of enemies. And like the guys with the fucking stupid ass PS3 motion controllers, like riding those like ships. I was like, this is so cool. It's just so cool.
It really, especially coming not right after, but after Astro's Playroom, where you spent the whole game collecting all those things in your PS5 ship. And at the end of the game, you take off. So it's like, it's a pretty decent continuation there that you like,
Yeah.
you collected all these things. So you helped make this big battle happen with all your buddies.
And it's smart that they didn't just sort of go like, guess what, Samus, you lost all your PlayStation power-ups. Go find them again, right? They, instead of it being about collecting items and iconography of history of PlayStation, the brand, it was a celebration of the fucking games.
Exactly.
Like getting all these different characters, being able to like dress like the Yarnum Hunter. Like, I love that. Or the fact that like you run up and like try to punch the Yarnum Hunter bot in the overworld, and he fucking parries you with the pistol with the sound effect when you try and hit him. Amazing.
The interactions at the crash site. So
Yeah,
good.
and theme levels, which we can talk about later, but just that they were like, hey, do you miss Ape Escape? Here's a level where you get to play Ape Escape again. Have fun.
The fact that they picked Ape Escape for one of those was
So good. Like
it made my heart skip a beat, because that's been a forgotten franchise from Sony for so fucking long.
and Loco Roco, I was like, God damn it. Like, they didn't just play the hits of the stuff that they want people to buy now. Didn't just do that. They did do that, of course. But they really looked for some stuff that we went, we know you miss this because we miss this too. And it, yeah, just this big fucking celebration of all these great games of like getting bots going, oh my God, I know what that's from. And wait, are we doing, holy shit, this is a Ghosts and Goblins level. What the fuck? There's Arthur. That's amazing. Like, there's zombified Arthur. Like, this is great. This is great. It was just like Leo meme, you know, with all these
the whole time
forgotten PlayStation classics. But it's like, we remember you. You're remembered. They get to exist again. And that's really special, honestly.
I don't want to yuck any yums. I wrote down early that this still feels more like an advertisement than a celebration. And then I softened on that a little bit when we got that first VIP bot level. And as, you know, at the end of each world, and you got another VIP bot, and you got to play as these characters and in these worlds designed, you know, what did we have? We had, like you said, Ape Escape, Loco Roco, Horizon, Uncharted,
God of War.
and God of War, which I think is a fine spread. I liked Uncharted was probably my favorite. I mean, they're all great, but I really like the Uncharted one. It just the whole vibe was just so fun. And then like the little
It was
golden
tight.
eggs where you're like
Yeah.
solving mini puzzles to find the
Throw some
golden egg
Jack and
artifacts.
Daxter precursor legacy in there.
That was great. We can talk about the bot levels, but tying that into what I think was so good about this game that I really appreciated. And again, not to just have to shit on something to lift something up, but something that I was constantly aware of in this game that I think that something like Mario Odyssey did not do even remotely well is boss battles. The boss battles in this game were so goddamn good whether they're the mini bosses or the main boss at the end of the galaxy before you unlock the VIP levels. They're just phenomenal set pieces. They're a little bit of challenge. They're totally different from each other. They don't overstay their welcome. They're not too long. They're just awesome set pieces. And whether it's the gorilla, on the skyscraper, he's throwing shit at you and busting stuff up, or dude, at the end of the Horizon level and you're fighting the fucking T-Rex on the back of a turtle that's just like turbo swimming through. Like, just so many great moments. And it felt like, oh, this is so distinctly different than the last 4 bosses I fought. One of those things where, like, you're not playing Astro Bot for the boss fights, right? And you could do the Mario Odyssey thing where every boss fight is basically the same thing. 3 hits, same characters every goddamn time. Or you can make them these giant, joyful set pieces.
And the fact that they were puzzles in their own right of giving you one of the abilities that you'd been using and said, now you need to use this on the fly in a, quote unquote high stakes situation. None of these fights were hard at all. And that's why this is the only thing I have in my okay column, is that I enjoyed them and thought that the final boss especially could have been, was kind of a letdown, that it was too easy, in my opinion, but maybe I'm just really good.
Yeah, nothing outside of the 4 challenge levels per galaxy, nothing about this game was hard. The only time you died is because the depth perception was off on the camera angle and you accidentally got hit by a projectile. There was no skill throughout most of this game. That's not what this game was about. It's about the collectibles and the explorations and the nods to the PlayStation universe. So
yeah, they were good. I liked them, and like I said, I like that they make you use the powers in a way that you hadn't before. Because if you're gonna do repeat powers, if it's not gonna be you've got a distinct ability for like every world or a distinct ability for every stage, and you're gonna return to stuff, then you need to ask us to do something that we haven't done with it before. Otherwise, it feels lazy, and that's, I thought, something that this game really excelled in, and the boss fights are like a prime example of that, where it's like you've got to hit that dog boost to smash through the specific part of the skyscraper that's a window so that you don't get knocked off the stage. Awesome. With the chameleon, you've got to slow down time right when the tongue hits the bottom so you can run up and fucking Mike Tyson his uvula before he closes his mouth. Like, that was cool. That was really, really cool.
If you had to pick one power, your absolute favorite power, Drew, what was it?
I mean, I think we're all going to be in agreement here. It's the one that showed up once. It's the shrink. It's the Ant-Man power.
The mouse shrink.
Yeah. And not only just because of the power, but the level itself, how it utilized it, and how it just seamlessly went, when you activate it and shrink down. I don't know how they made it work so well, because you never see that in other games. There are Mario levels where Mario's tiny or Mario's big, but you're never really switching back and forth, and the world is, changing to accommodate your new size. So that was just, the fact that it was so seamless was crazy.
It was seamless, and what was so amazing about it was it wasn't one for one. It wasn't just like, all right, now your character model is small and you're interacting in this world where the same assets are just relative to the character model. Like, everything in the world just changed, and the perspective shift was so dramatic. And like you said, seamless. I mean, every time I did it, I was like, sometimes I would just sit there spamming it to see like how things were changing.
Dude, yes. Jaw on floor, big fucking dopey grin the whole time through this level of just, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. It's so cool. And also that it doesn't, like, the way they design the level, like you said, Drew, it shows it off really well, and it also doesn't gate you into, you have to just use it in these couple of places and that's it. Like, if you want to shrink down and like jump into a flower pot, there's a little coin for you. If you want to shrink down and like run under, this specific thing and then get large again, you could smash that open and, oh shit, now there's a little plug I could pull. Oh, there's a fucking puzzle piece. So cool. If I want to shrink and run into the beginning of the little tiny platforming section and like get up the wall, great. If I want to jump towards that, shrink in midair and go right into the top of that to cut that whole section in half, you could totally do that just with the physics of how like the jumping and the shrieking, it maintains your forward momentum. If you want to like move quicker through the level to go like find a collectible you missed or something. I was like, this is really makes me want an Ant-Man game by Asobi Studios. This is what it makes me want.
And I think that's a huge thing that this game does over other either platformers or games with power-ups. So many times, if you get a power-up, it's because, oh, they want me to use it for the next 30 seconds to get over this obstacle. This one gives it to you at the beginning and says, you figure out where you need to use it. And that's so cool. It's the whole level is a puzzle. They give you the key at the beginning and say, figure it out. It's like an escape room or something. It's so cool.
Chris, other than the mouse shrink, what was your favorite power? What's 1B?
I just wrote down Ant-Man in all capitals in my favorite power list. The second one, I really liked the elephant vacuum backpack.
Dude, the elephant sucked, dude.
That was cool.
Where you could, the first level, they give you like, I don't know, seeds, basically like liquid plant where you can just like create a little, terrace basically. But then, and this was one of my favorite levels too, because again, they were like, all right, now think a lot harder about this, where they gave you options where you could either suck up concrete, which was just like the plants. It's going to be a fixed platform that can raise or lower on airways, or you could use the honey, which would give you a bouncing platform, or you could use the ice, which would let you create little ramps. And I went, oh fuck! And then they're kind of mixing these things in. I'm like, that's really cool. And then suddenly you're in an area where they're like, pick one, and you can go like any direction you want. And I went, oh my God, that's so fucking cool. I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of vibing with the ice. So let me just build little like, 3 little ramps to get up here. And oh, can I keep doing the ice to get over there? No, I'm probably going to want to use the honey because I need to get a little more like altitude. And then I could like bounce, hover, like just to get a little bit more verticality so I could reach this other platform. And I know concrete's there if I want like something real dependable and like consistent of just give me a platform right underneath me. I was like, wow, that's really neat.
I think it is no surprise, based on our conversations this week, that my favorite power that actually appears more than once is the slow-mo watch.
That was great.
I love time
Yeah.
fuckery. If I recall, it's only in 2 levels and then a boss fight. Is that right?
I believe so.
chameleon?
It's the casino.
The casino, the ghosts, the second Ghosts and Goblins level. The first one I played was in the lost levels, but that one that might have been the only 2, and then the chameleon boss.
I love timey-wimey bullshit. We've joked quite a lot about how much I like Titanfall 2, and that game has very similar mechanics where you're starting and stopping and you're teleporting and you do all these different weird things. I love that kind of fuckery. It's so much fun. And the way, not only where they design the platforming challenges in a way that like you really have to get your timing down perfectly, the further you go. And so it is a little bit of challenge and sort of reading the room and understanding your environment. But also, I can't tell you how many times I died because I would freeze time and I would start my platforming and then I would stop to look at the things that I just slowed down and then I'd fucking die because I was like, look at all this cool shit. Like when those ghosts are throwing like all the junk and the knives are mixed in with that junk, and I just like jumped on a knife and I stopped and I was like, look at all this shit. And then time unfroze and I was like, woo.
Jumping on their throw up, they're like vomiting up like half-eaten apples and banana peels and knives and shit. You have to slow down the time and just like hop around all the refuse that's coming out of their stomach. I was like, yeah, I definitely got caught gandering a couple of times too. In the casino especially, everything's so shiny and I'm like, wow, I just made a bridge out of darts that are like in mid-flight and rotating. Like this is
that was
sick.
so cool. Chris, you said this is the greatest casino level in any video game.
I said specifically, this is the best casino level since Sonic 2 Casino Nights.
Okay.
And I stand by that. But that includes infinitely replayable slot machines where you can just spam rings and lives as long as you want. So I have to give the nod to that overall. But second best ain't bad.
I do want to give an honorable mention to Astro Bot made a better ARMS game than Nintendo with the frog extended arms.
I thought it too.
And the little like you turn into the little iron ball and like roll around. That was a fun one too.
Morph ball.
the first time I played it, I had asked, I even put it in the chat, I asked Chris, I was like, have you gotten to this world yet? Because obviously it's very Samus coded in the way you're traversing through little holes. And I will say that power is probably near the bottom of my list next to the fucking monkey hands.
That one
we'll
was the
get
worst.
there. And unfortunately, they brought the morph ball back way too many fucking times. Way too many goddamn times. I was really annoyed by the end.
Total?
I think it's because it was too familiar to one of the little not the main levels in one of the galaxies, but there's a couple side levels that pop up halfway through where you're riding on the armadillo. It's essentially the same thing, and they could have just not had one, or just had it be the armadillo the whole time, or just the steel ball the whole time. So I think it was just reusing the same idea in different ways. So yeah, I mean,
that's
you use it 4 times and a boss battle, I think, which is tied for most appearances.
Feels high. Are you sure? There's the first one that's the Egypt level, the hieroglyph pyramid or whatever. You use it on the pirate level with the volcanoes that fire artillery at you, and the Condor boss. I think those are the only 3 times you use it. There may be a challenge level, but those are so short. I wouldn't necessarily count that.
I'm trying to get some hard data. Not that it totally
I don't remember
to the conversation we're having about things we like.
Platformer shit. Little platformer shit that I really like to see in a platformer. Namely, overworld secrets. I want to be rewarded for fucking around in the overworld. The first time that I moved some stars around and there was a little meteor in there and it gave me a bonus level, I squeaked. I was like, hell yes, I love this. I love an overworld with secrets on it. End of level games. Donkey Kong Country 2, the goatiest fucking goat that ever goated in platformers, gave you that little barrel roulette game at the end of every level. Always looked forward to it. Just a nice little reward for good fucking job. Astro Bot, same shit with the little, hit the thing, got a boost at the right time, and you'll dual speed or whatever
coins
will burst it. Yeah, and that shit adds up. Challenge stages that piss me off for the right reasons, which this did piss me off for the right reasons. I want to feel my blood pressure go up. I want my heart rate to go up. I want to be pushed and know that if I'm dying, it's my own stupid fucking fault for not getting good. We'll talk more about those levels later, especially the last one. That one was fucking fun, but definitely got my heart rate up for a solid 40 minutes. And destructible credits. God damn, I didn't know how much I missed a destructible credit sequence until that was credit carnage or whatever. And I went, no way. And I literally got kind of emotional as I'm bopping around. They're giving you all the powers. It's a fucking mega mix of all the different powers, and you're just smashing the credits, and you're hearing the little tinkling of blocks, and then you get to the end as we've gone through all the credits with on the PlayStation memory cards that old school single name thing they used to do in credits where it's music by Funky, and you step on the memory card and then it gives you that person's actual full name. I was like, that's genius. I love that. And at the very, very end, and thank you for playing. I fucking miss that. That used to be
up a little bit at that
game.
Part. Not gonna lie,
dude. Me too. Me fucking too. I felt like a little kid again. Of just damn, I just did a thing, and it was kind of challenging. And it was not really that challenging to get to the credits, but I was I did a thing, and you're I see you. It just speaks to how much this game felt like. The developers are just so fucking happy that people are playing this game. It is so incredibly full of love in a way that most first party titles from something like Sony just are not. I felt like I was witnessing something that was really, really important to them, and they felt genuinely really grateful that I was doing it.
Especially on the heels of Concord.
Oh,
two polar opposites.
Yep. Soulless, manufactured bullshit, trying to capitalize on every trend under the sun that worked 5 years ago.
Probably cost $200 million.
So much fucking money, and we'll never know because they don't want us to.
I've got 2 kind of quick things on good. Do you guys have anything left on good, or do you want to? I can run through these, and we can jump over to okay. First of all, just the overall sort of design ethos when it comes to the collectibles. You go into a level, you know exactly how many bots you need to find, how many puzzle pieces, you know if there was a warp gate or not to a secret level. So the checklists, they're just so streamlined. It just makes the type A brain like, okay, I know what I'm going for in this level. That's great. And for a game that's like all about collecting, don't think too hard about
They
it.
even point out which of the bots that you're collecting are PlayStation mascot bots.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Really appreciated that. So it's not constantly going, oh, it's another blank bot. Oh, it's another blank bot. Instead, they flip it. You don't think about the fact that half the fucking bots you're collecting are blank bots because you are looking forward to that exo square circle one or whatever. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Oh my God, it's Cole from Infamous. Fuck yeah. Where's Infamous? Give me another Infamous game. I fucking love those games.
I also love that for the most part, there are a few aggravating exceptions, but for the most part, you collect the first and the third bot, and you can clearly see that you missed a bot, and it is somewhere between those two bots. So you can go back, and for the most part, you can go back to any part of a level, so you don't have to replay a level multiple times. I hate games that make you replay levels for collectibles. I hate it, and despite loving a game, Lego Star Wars Complete Trilogy, top 100 game, I love that game. I don't have the time or the energy in my life to replay levels over and over to get all the collectibles. So again, with a few exceptions where you got gated and you would have to replay the game, but something that they did really well, and these are kind of two different sides of the same coin. One, the rope birds that eliminate backtracking on like really vertical levels. If you fall all the way down, it'll spawn a fucking bird with a rope and it'll carry you back up to your last checkpoint. So it's easy to get around without having to go through all the puzzles and platforming again. That is just such a nice quality of life upgrade. And on that level, the first time you get the samurai roll and you're jumping out of the head of the volcanoes, there are a few times where I either fell or I missed something. So I jump back down and I'm like looking up and I'm like, do I have to fucking do all this again with the timing of the blocks falling and jumping in the volcano? It's like, come on. And then a bird spawned. I was like, you got to be shitting me. They thought of everything. But on the other side of that, the little bird at the beginning, once you've cleared a level, you can start the level again. You can pay 200 coins and you can get this little bird that just acts as a little radar and points in the direction when you get close to a collectible. It'll just point in the direction. And there were a few times where I did end up using that because I have one Astro Bot in the middle of the fucking level. And I'm like, am I really going to go and check every nook and cranny in this level? Like, no, I'm going to pay 200 coins and I'm going to run through this level until he beeps at me. And then I'll go find where he is. I really appreciate that. That's valuing my time as a player.
When they don't insert stuff like that, it's making your game hard, but not because it's hard. It's because it's minutia you have to slog through.
Because it's
like
annoying.
Make your game, make me want to collect it. It's a collectathon. Make me want to collect everything. If I'm missing one thing, I don't want to spend the next 4 hours going through your, like, give me an option to find it.
I also want to shout that the bird radar speaks to something that I know my friend Nick will really appreciate, is that every indicator in this game is diegetic. There is no HUD whatsoever. There are no icons. There are no indicators. There is nothing but the game world and your character. When you're wearing the time backpack, you've got a little dial on the back of the backpack that just ticks down from green to red, so you know how much time you have left before time starts again. When you're using the bird radar, it doesn't fucking pop up a radar bar with red dots that clutters the screen. He just points his little dish in the direction when you get close, and it slowly blinks and starts to blink a little faster when you get closer, and a little faster and a little faster. When you have your little elephant backpack, there's not a little bar that appears that has 3 little colored blocks that says you have 3 things to do. That tank just gets a little lower and a little lower and a little lower. And it's all just integrated diegetically so it doesn't clutter up your visual experience.
When you get close to a bot, you can kind of hear them screaming a little for help. As you can kind of locate them.
I'm over here!
It's just like Diddy Kong in the barrel.
Yeah, but pretty much.
That's a good pull.
Man, there's so many little details that when you start to lay all of them out, you're like, damn, They really fucking knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I rescind my "this game shouldn't have been $60" comment. I want to apologize to every developer. This game should not have been. It should have been $60. Heck, I'd have paid $70 for it. You're welcome.
A full 180.
Let me give you more money.
Take 90, please. Make another one. And you know they're gonna. Like, we are witnessing the birth of a new PlayStation mascot in real time, which is kind of insane considering how they've basically just been recycling and remixing these people and then like rebooting these franchises for forever. Like, the last time we got a new quote unquote like face of PlayStation was like Uncharted. That was PS3 era.
Well,
That was
Chris,
like well over a decade ago.
it's also the third game, so I don't know about how new it is technically.
But it was a tech demo / pack-in title that was like, oh, that's cute. And then a VR game that no one played because it's on PlayStation VR. This is an honest to God first party tentpole release for Sony in the year of our Lord 2024. And he's in the big time now. So maybe not birth, but the rise.
Yeah, they toe dipped before they decided to do the full plunge.
I think that's it for good. So if we want to, take the gloves off a little bit and dip into stuff that was okay, stuff that maybe could have seen a little improvement.
I'm going to start because I only have one thing that is not in the great column. I have nothing below that.
Wow.
And I've already mentioned it briefly, and it's that I enjoy that the bosses are puzzle based, that you are using your powers in a way, in an interesting way, a la like the shift in Metroid Dread from previous Metroids where you just face tank, but now you have to use the ability that you just got. They integrated into the boss design. It's great. But they are all exceptionally easy, and I don't mind that necessarily with like, the first 5 worlds, but I'm looking for a little challenge with a final boss. I don't want to one-shot a final boss.
The final boss was bad.
I don't know if I would go bad because it really wasn't that different than the other ones, just that you get that little roulette wheel of like, what power are you going to use? And then also I actually kind of liked.
I did like that part, the roulette wheel, because it wasn't scripted. I got, different things. I beat him a few times and I got, different combinations of all 3 things each time.
Oh yeah. And the fact that he'll like, I landed on something on the 3rd time and he just said, nope, you're getting monkey hands, and like switched it and gave me the monkey hands instead. I was like, oh, I kind of like that he's like, yeah, fuck you actually. Yeah, I would have really liked that to be a little bit harder, but I thought it was like inoffensive. It definitely didn't go any lower than that for me, but we talked about this last time with Ender Magnolia or Ender Lilies, that I'm looking for just a little more tests in a final boss. Like I'm K rule pilled, right? Like those are relatively challenging bosses, especially for a young person, but this was pretty damn easy. But that is literally it. That is the only thing I have below great. I have almost nothing negative to say about this game. And maybe y'all will mention something and I'll go, oh, actually, that is really fucking annoying. I agree with you, but I kind of doubt it, so I just wanted to like get that on there and then let y'all cook.
Yeah, see, to me, the final bosses were more about being set pieces than final boss fights. You know what I mean? It was more about being this bombastic set piece that it was almost like, not quite, but it was almost like, what if QuickTime events were fun?
Sure.
I can see that.
Almost all the mini bots in this game were harder than any of the main final bosses.
Oh yeah. The Genie rematch, dude, like that one was tough.
Yeah,
that was tough.
A few times.
That was great, but at the same time, it was so weird that for whatever reason, out of all of the bosses, and he was a great boss, but they were just like, let's have you fight him again on a random nothing like side level.
That was just some pet project. Like one of the developers was like his favorite boss, so they're like, yeah, we'll use him again.
Yeah, he was a great boss.
Yeah, the final boss I thought was a big letdown because all 3 of his phases were the same. You hit him 3 times, you run up, you hit him in the hands, you break the lock. Whereas all the other boss fights had like 3 distinct phases where you were doing something. I mean, sometimes it would repeat, and the difference would be in like his response. But the alien, it was just like the same thing every time. And then, yeah, the roulette wheel was like fine, and I guess it's like a fine way to like kind of cap off all these powers that, you've been uncovering on your journey. But I don't know how much this was informed by me just being ready to be done with the game by the end of this. and get the platinum out of the way. But I was pretty annoyed with the final boss fight. The ship level was cool, if kind of lacking stake, because the whole shmup thing is like cute and fun, but you're not actually getting power-ups. It's just a pretty linear experience. But the final boss battle, I was ready for it to be over. So I say bad. It's like bad on a bell curve, Like, this game is really good, and that was probably my least favorite thing about it, other than a few of the technical things that we'll get into. 2 things in my okay column. They were not bad. They were just fine. Enemy designs are good in this game, but there is almost no variety, and the world designs are so distinct and full of character. Every enemy in this game is like this same one of 5 designs. Why is this screw that spits fire in the fucking ice level or whatever? Like, it's another spiky guy.
For the spiky ones, it's weird because depending on the like level genre, the spiky guys are the ones who would come up and like bite you, but they don't do damage. They would change those ones to like match where they were. Like if it was like a space level, they'd be kind of white, like they were kind of robot. I mean, they were robots, but they would change
sort of space.
They would reskin those ones, but like, why not? Why stop there? Why not reskin all of them?
It felt a little bit lazy.
That would cost $70, Drew.
Again, I would have paid for it. Damn it.
That's exactly it. That's where you could tell the budget and or creative juices were sort of reaching the end of the line. And then this game is pretty, and there are aspects of it that I really love. Like, I love the texture. That first level where like you have all the pink and purple leaves on the ground and you're running through the leaves filled me with a feeling that I still can't place. It was a very good feeling. I cannot quite place. It was like a weird nostalgia.
Are you describing joy?
I might be. But they did that with all these different textures throughout the game, and that was really cool. But as far as the actual like aesthetic, man, it felt a little generic, sort of Unreal Engine to me, where you think of some of the iconic mascot platformers and they have such a distinct look. This looked more to me like anybody who went into Unreal Engine and like, it's like, oh, Mario 64 made an Unreal Engine, and it's just sort of, that's the look, and everything looks like that. So I'm like, it was fine. It was fine. I was never really blown away from like a design aspect. Like, oh my God, this is so what it was just. It served its function. It did what it needed to do. But I mean, it looks nice. It's a high resolution. I would hope so. It runs really smoothly. I would hope so. They're not exactly reinventing the wheel visually here. But those are my okays.
I only got one okay and then one obnoxious. My only okay is kind of along more lines with the enemy thing. It's not gameplay related. It's just the fact that once you beat one of the galaxies, you get the little notification. He looks in the sky, thing crashes down, go to the level, find it, punch it. He does the same animation every time. You fly up, he goes into space, he does the same animation every time, and he points to the galaxy. They could have mixed that up a little bit. It was like the same, because I didn't play as many sessions, but my sessions were longer. So there were times where I'd get through like 2 galaxies in one session. I'm just like, I just saw this same animation like 40 minutes ago. Like, we could have mixed it up a little bit, maybe made it a different satellite, give them some sort of personality or something.
That's
like just along your lines with the enemy thing. It was just like, with the amount of polish they put into this game, just a little more with the repetitive stuff that you're doing over and over. Mix it up a little so it doesn't feel so samey.
That's so interesting, because that's like right where I would stop most of the time. So even in, the sessions where I like knocked out multiple galaxies, I would that's like the first thing I would do. Like I would get done with the last world. If I had anything to clean up, I would like hop right on the dual speeder and go back and do it. And then I would come back and I would pause it and I'd put it in rest mode. And then I'd wake up and the first thing I did would go like find the new satellite. So I never saw them back to back, but I could totally see that.
Yeah, it's not a huge thing at all. It's just we're using the same animation 7 times. Let's even make them slightly different. Give them each a different personality or something. There was so much quality and attention to detail baked into the game that it's just weird that like no one goes, hey, maybe we should not do the same thing 7 times.
Well, it's a testament to how good this game is that, this is the kind of stuff we're complaining about, right?
Exactly.
So, you said you had one obnoxious. Do you want to kick us off with the obnoxious thing?
I will always put this in obnoxious, but anytime you force me to use motion controls for anything, I don't care how good it works. I don't care if it feels good to do. It will always be an obnoxious thing to me.
That is the top of my bad list.
What?
It didn't affect gameplay enough to make me put it in bad because it was so few and far between. The times that I had to use it. But
they work.
I don't care.
They worked with the Wii Motion Plus. That's not an accomplishment.
You got to give me the option.
Well, no, they didn't. Not like that.
It worked on 3DS.
One time it killed me was, I think it was either an end of level boss or a mini boss. It's the beach level where you're cleaning up the trash. There's a big oil slime and you got to tilt your controller to go around the train track around him while you're dodging spike balls. I died 70 times on that because I couldn't fucking figure out if I'm turning the controller, where's my buttons? What's happening here?
And it's not calibrated properly. So
exactly.
Depending on how you're holding the controller when it starts.
I'm lounging down. So I'm like, and then anytime
it shows you how to hold it.
Anytime you force me to turn the controller upside down and still press buttons, fuck you.
So, okay, I'm so with you. I am so fucking with you, Drew. I didn't realize until literally having beaten the game and going back to get the last puzzle piece in the shmup level at the very, very end that there's an accessibility option for turning it off and just turning it on the left stick. And I was like, why didn't I fucking realize this earlier?
So they gave the option.
Because they don't want you to.
Here we go. That's why it's not in bad for me.
That final level, dude, and there was one puzzle piece. I think it was a third puzzle piece when it comes in on the PlayStation Move controller, and I could not. And it wasn't until I finally turned off motion controls and put on the left stick that I could finally get it. I was so annoyed, and the checkpoints are placed in weird spots. Yeah. So if you die, it starts you too far ahead, so you have to replay the entire fucking level to get that third puzzle piece.
Where's your bird now, EJ?
Although I will say, they do let you, and every collectathon should do this, and they don't all. If you get the item, you can leave the level. It is not going to erase your progress through the level if you get the thing, which is nice. I had a hell of a time with that puzzle piece. It was the third one, and you're in the corridors of the ship, and the gates are opening and closing. You have to go right to get around a gate, and then you have to come back left. I overcorrected the first 2 times and just swung way past it, which, that's a me problem. I'm genuinely shocked at this, honestly, that this is so low for both of you. Cause I thought I'm sitting here they rarely use them. And when they do use them, it felt like it was so precise and well implemented that I was just awesome. Firing arrows with alloy, you can use the stick for that. You don't have to use the motion controls, but I was like, oh fuck yeah. This is so intuitive. I
used the stick. I didn't even know you could use motion controls for that.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely. No, it's great.
When I play, my hands are locked so tight. I'm not moving nothing.
The second boss, or no. It was a mini boss. It was the mini boss. It's the, on the pirate level, it's the big pirate skeleton.
Oh.
And you use the monkey hands. That was the worst fucking thing. And I probably bitched about this in the last game because they had the same power. That was horrible. Yeah. And the fact that they put it so early in the game, there's a timeline where I quit in that moment and never play this game again because I was so irritated that I was like, is this what this game is going to have for me over the next 15 hours? Because this is so bad and it works so poorly. And it's literally, you're just swinging the fucking controller back and forth trying to time your thing. And then when you have to climb up him while he's attacking you, fucking
skill issue.
Dumb and annoying and bad.
My heart did drop when I saw that monkey power up come back. Because that was the worst part of Playroom.
It's so easy. Just literally turn, grab.
I don't want to do this when I'm playing a game.
It's slow. It's clunky. It's unnecessary. It's unfun.
It's not slow if you're good at it.
Chris, imagine there's a world where you can both be competent at something and not like it. Have you ever worked before? Have you ever had a job? Because I can be both good at something and hate it, okay?
Well, I have only ever been bad at things and also loved them, so I can't relate. I am content in my mediocrity, sir.
And that is our mantra on the Console Crusade podcast.
Oh, God. Oh, what else y'all got?
No camera speed options. annoying. I would have loved to ratchet it up 25% on the right stick.
That's fair.
Totally fair.
Minor thing, no reason it shouldn't have existed.
Do you think they were masking maybe some of the ways they were getting it to be so performant with that camera speed? Like, it just in this moment occurred to me, like, if they sped it up, is that going to impede the ability for it to run really smooth? I'm not saying that that would be like a trade-off necessarily. Nick's shaking his head. No,
He is vigorously shaking. Yeah, I don't think the game is doing enough to have to consider something like that. I mean, there are definitely games where if you're whipping that camera around, it is not able to render things fast enough and you get hella stutter. Astro Bot's not one of those games. I mentioned earlier that this game is not particularly difficult. And so the only time you're dying in anything other than a challenge level or a mini boss is like because the camera was doing something weird or your depth perception was off and you missed time to jump on a projectile or like, you know what I mean? Like you never died because you were bad at doing the thing the game asked you to do. It was always just a dumb accident and it was annoying. So like, I don't love the one-shot like health system. And some of the bosses, the main bosses, I think you get 3 hits before you're dead. But everywhere else in the game, it's one shot and you're dead. And it's like, that'd be fine if this were a precision platformer where like, skill matters. And if this is Super Meat Boy, that's fine. But like, you're only ever dying by accident. Like, just let me oonga boonga and just start and like jump right back into it, Crash style. Like it's just annoying. It didn't obviously ruin the experience. It was just annoying, and I don't think it's the best way to implement health in this game. Unless they want to really ratchet up the difficulty, then we could talk. My biggest irritant. No, this is still obnoxious, and it goes back to the being forced to replay levels thing. It's so goddamn annoying to me, and I think when Nick jumped in, while his Splatoon was updating the other day, I was in the middle of one of these, and I was bitching about it to Nick. But
what level were you forced to replay?
Well, any of them that have a warp gate, not at the very end of the level.
Fair.
Very annoying.
True.
You should let me unlock the warp gate and the galaxy and continue playing the level, or drop right back in. And there's so many. What were there? 10 hidden galaxies in this game? Was it 10? 12, 8, 10, I don't know, whatever it was. There was a lot of them, and I always dreaded jumping to a level that had the little swirl next to the collectibles. I was like, fuck, man, you're going to get all the way to the end of the level, and you have to unlock it, and you have to make the decision between, do I finish the level now and come back for this warp gate, or do I open the warp gate now so I don't have to go through whatever bullshit to unlock it again, and then come back and replay everything anyway?
Yes.
Always an annoying decision, so that's obnoxious.
That's fair. I didn't even think about that.
Thanks a lot, Mario 64.
And then on bad, other than motion controls and the monkey hands, which I fucking complained about, something that was on my bad that I am now having to sort of reappraise after your guys' glowing impressions is the haptics. And I think...
Get the fuck out. Get the fuck
Hold
out.
on, motherfucker. I think the motors in my triggers are dying because they were so goddamn loud. Literally, it sounded like a machine gun going off, and they felt horrible. Like when you're just like on all the little galaxy, the mini galaxy screens, and you're waiting for like a comet to appear so you can unlock all the hidden mini worlds, and you're like using the turbo boost to just run around the outskirts of the galaxy. Dude, it was so fucking loud. And it shook my entire hand. I was like, this is not good. This is not good. So now after hearing your guys, like I had to go into my PlayStation system menu, and I had to turn the haptics down to the weakest possible option because on full blast, it was like a Nokia phone from 2000 vibrating on the desk.
That's crazy.
It was horrible.
Yeah, something's got to be wrong there.
I think it's my motors are going out because it was both triggers. Did you just send me a DualSense Edge controller, you motherfucker?
Shell out, buddy.
Man. Yeah,
It's
come
been
on,
the list for a
EJ.
while.
$200 for a hobby that you spend how many hours on? That's not a worthwhile investment. I'm insert clipping you from last.
This is my $230 scuff controller that is made with all OEM DualSense parts. There are no third-party DualSense parts. Custom made to order. Back paddles. This is a pre-DualSense Edge or whatever. So I've had it for 2 years. I think my motor's just going out because this is the only controller I use.
Should have bought first party, pal.
This is first party. It's just reshelled.
Yeah. How's the warranty / how's How easily serviced is that controller, do you think, EJ?
I don't know. What I'm going to do, though, tonight is I'm going to put Astro Bot back in, and I'm going to use my newest DualSense stock controller, and I'm going to test it out on full strength and see what some of these things felt like.
Give yourself hand cramps? EJ, come on. Don't sacrifice your body for the game.
I loathe the DualSense, and the scuff with the back paddle, just bearable enough. So
I do have a couple questions for you guys really quick.
Yeah.
Did you ever figure out when you're just going around the galaxy map, is it just completely random when those things spawn in? Was there something to trigger it?
It's random.
That was kind of annoying to me.
It's not
I'm adding that in.
random.
Random.
It's not
set-
random.
No, it's I don't know what the exact interval is, but it's got to be at a set interval that you've either cleared a certain number of stages or rescued a certain number of bots within the galaxy, and then just getting to the perimeter would spawn it in.
That was the last like bird galaxy. I had everything done. I was missing one bot from one of those like construction things where you got to make the guys fall through it that like randomly pop out. And I was flying around there for like 10 minutes before it finally spawned. I was like, why can't I just do something to trigger this?
It's random, and I would have times where I would be like picking a level, and I would have not only a comet fly in, but also the timer ones. We have to blow the things up to unlock it, spawn at the same time. And I would like go for the comet, and then I would try to get to the other side in time, and then you would miss it, and then you would sit there for 10 minutes waiting for it to respawn.
Yeah. So that's an obnoxious that I will add as well.
I could usually get those to pop back by just exiting and re-entering the galaxy. The timed ones anyway, I could get those to usually just respawn immediately by going out and going back in.
How did you feel about the final challenge level, Chris?
It's fucking sublime, dude. It's so good. It's like everything I want out of, for a long time, like when I played Mario 3D World on the Wii U, I couldn't beat World Crown. Like I could not fucking beat that last challenge level. And I feel so similarly about this one, that it's just, you get that first like pretty deep run where you're just going based purely on instinct. And then from there it's okay, I've got to just replicate all these things and like building the track, building the strat of, okay, so I know I'm going to jump in. I'm going to go straight over the top of those two bells. I'm going to wait, got to laser this guy, jump to the next one, wait for them to hit the bells again so I could go get the rooster to drop down and not shock me, pull his fucking hair out, do the glass, jump spin, and just like locking in every specific move and all the places where I knew they had built in those gotchas with projectiles, like the fucking chameleon shooting fireballs, where I'm like, I got to really be like weaving while I'm getting in between these, these shape platforms and the two purple guys on the blocks that are shifting. Like you got to get in their face really quick, or they're going to like snipe you from afar. Like if you wait too long. Oh my God. It's so satisfying to beat one of those. And I knew I got to the shooting the birds and the shapes for the first time and was like, this is it. Like I knew that this was going to be the end. And I was tempted to go like look at your video of your run you posted to see if that was the last thing. But I was like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I gotta figure it out myself. And then like, after much, much pain and consternation, discovering you cannot in fact jump through the center of the triangle bird shapes. You have to go all the way around the perimeter and snake your way and get like really horizontal. If you could jump through the center of them, I couldn't fucking do it. And so I was like, I'm not going to keep trying to do this. Skill issue.
Chris, go take a look at the video I posted.
I think it might be because I went through the middle too.
Yeah.
No, both of the times I tried, it was like instantly dead. Instantly dead. Not only hitting one, but two of those stupid fucking birds. Every time I tried to jump through the center of that, I couldn't fucking do it. So I went all the way around the side, and it took like an extra repetition or two of them firing before I could make it work. And then of course, like the square and the circle, and just, yeah, it was genuinely thrilling. It's like everything I look for in a final challenge level. Back to start if you die, really twitchy. You know that it's your fault when you die. And when you finally get to the end, it's just this big release of like, fuck yeah. Like, God damn it, I'm good at this.
The fire level where you're getting the rubber duck and like making platforms by cooling the lava.
I think that one gave me more trouble than the final one.
Yeah, without a doubt.
now have to add something to my obnoxious column because that level I do not think is hard on purpose. And here's what I mean by that. You can get, okay, so the part that, and this is probably true for all of y'all, the part that we went, I said this literally out loud like 6 times. I don't know what you fucking want me to do that I am not already doing is when you get the duck and the sludge is in front of you and the jets of fire start following you. I still am not sure I know what I did to be able to proceed past that section that was different than any of the other times, because you can get stuck on, other than getting rid of the first sludge before you start moving. I know that you could do that, but you can get stuck on something at the edge of the platform that if you don't jump before you touch that, it will slow you down for just a second and you're fucked. There's no way that you're going to proceed past it. That feels unintentional. That feels like that's a mistake that needs to get patched, that there's just something in the geometry that's catching you there. Because I also don't remember ever stopping on any other edge. If I proceed past it, you just fall. But in this particular one, you get stuck, you get hung up. That was a really fucking obnoxious because it felt like it was hard, not on purpose.
The only trouble I had in that section was the duck wouldn't get all the tar. So you just basically have to just be running and jumping and floating and spinning each time in that order. Yeah, if you're just trying to run through it, you're going to have a bad time. The level that gave me the most trouble was the To the Beat level or whatever it was called, the quote-unquote rhythm level where the platforms are flipping over. And
Is
then
that
you
a
get to the
cross
end.
one?
It was a cross one, yeah. And the cross ones were so strange because that's the cross were that was the last galaxy, right?
Yeah.
The cross challenges. 2 of those I one-shotted. And I was like, oh, easy.
2 or 3.
And then I get to the fucking rhythm, the To the Beat challenge or whatever it is, and you get to the end where those fucking conveyor belts are going and they're throwing the birds at you, first left to right and then top to bottom. Dude, I played that level 80 times before I got it. That was the most annoying one.
I think that moment I had to swing my camera out and do a 3/4 angle just to see what the fuck was going on.
Oh man, it was something. But good challenge, a nice change of pace. Like I said earlier, the pacing of this game was almost perfect. Like there was always something new. There was always a little bit of challenge right around the corner. Always something to discover. And in a game like this that can be quite repetitive, they did a great job of mixing it up and rewarding you as you went. So definitely want Astro Bot 2. I'm sure it'll be a PS6 launch title. How fun that'll be. And then, think about it. We're probably not going to get any other first-party PlayStation games until at least the launch of the PS6 Pro. So Astro Bot, it's all on your shoulders, baby.
That is depressing and accurate. I would like one of these every console generation. I'd like 2 of these every console generation. They're incredible. They're fucking incredible. Are we going to do the 1-sentence thing? I did not write a 1 sentence.
I didn't write one either.
Are we just going to do score?
Yeah, let's just do score. Drew, we operate on a 20-point scale now instead of a 100-point scale.
Whole and half numbers up to 10.
Right.
Whole and half? Okay. Up to 10. I would give this a solid, I'm going to go 9.
Very good. Chris?
9.5. And the only reason this game is not a 10 on our scale is because I don't know that other than the haptics and the immersive sound design of how they use the controller to bring you into the world in a way that I've fucking never seen before outside of VR to this degree. It's fucking incredible. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything that we're going to look back and go, oh, they're doing the Astro Bot thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is going to be influential on the world of mascot platformers. I just think it is as close to perfect a 3D platformer as you can possibly fucking get. I literally have almost nothing other than the one level that I think they need to, patch out that little edge problem. I have nothing bad to say about this game. I think everything it does exceptionally fucking well in a way I've not seen outside of a Nintendo 3D platformer literally ever. I think it's astounding.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this. I said earlier that I think platformers have a ceiling that they just can't eclipse. It's like eating deep dish pizza. It's like, yeah, it's good, but a deep dish pizza can't be a 10 out of 10.
You've never been to Chicago, my friend.
Case in point. Definitely nothing about this game is groundbreaking or like you said, none of they're not going to influence the industry other than like selling well and hopefully encouraging people to make good platformers. But like they're just taking what works about the genre and doing it well in their own way. And that's great, but certainly not 10 territory. It's tough. It's tough for me. I'm really waffling between an 8.5 and a 9.
Give it the 9. Round up.
Search your feelings.
You're
know
at 88 when you were low on it. So
you were.
Round up. Give it the 9.
You liked this game. It's okay. You're still below the review aggregate, so you're still being like, don't think it's a 95. You've still got that.
It's not a 95. Come on, let's not get fucking crazy, Chris. Mr. 95.
Well, I mean, I think it is.
Listen, this is why I am such an advocate for a fucking 100-point scale, because this feels like a really great 88 to me. It's not a 9, but like 85, you're just like, okay, it's a little soft.
Grow up and make a choice, EJ. Come on.
God damn it.
Do it.
This isn't in stone, okay? I reserve the right to change my mind in print, okay? I'll give it a 9.
Better than Skyrim.
Yeah.
You had that in the barrel ready to go.
Real question is, does it fall on the Console Crusade Top 100?
Yeah, there's no way we're getting Chris to not let it on, right? We'll trade out Kirby in the Forgotten Land for it.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
How many other games
it's
on that list have, especially for you, Chris, one negative thing to say about them?
Not many. I have a lot of bad games on that list.
Yeah.
When you're just directly comparing things, it's like, is Astro Bot better than Skyrim? Like, no. Looking at the totality of what a game does and its place in the industry and at the time you play, there's so many factors. Like, no, Astro Bot is a really good platformer.
Don't get bogged down in that weird minutia because you can't compare these games to each other at all. So who cares what the numbers? The numbers mean nothing.
On our top 100, which is what Drew just asked about, I would probably not put it over any of the platformers.
But you can also agree that a game can be more important than it can be great. So I think in the long run, this game is, like you said, we both said, Chris and EJ, that this game is like not wildly important beyond being like, wow, Sony can still make fun games. Like,
Right.
It's just fun. Whereas everything else is trying to be important. Like capital I, check out the cast in God of War. Like, yeah, we're making real big boy cinema games over here.
It is 16 hours to turn an Andy Bickerton phrase of pure pleasure. Plain and simple.
This occupies the same territory as Mario Wonder. Mario Wonder is a really fucking good game.
Okay.
I can see that.
Am I going to put it on like the generational titles on a list of 100 games, the most important things to us ever in our life? No. And part of that, it might just be my age. Part of it might just be, the time I have for this hobby. Yeah, whatever. It being a game that Sony developed, a first-party Sony studio, is important because these things only exist in Nintendo land, and Nintendo exists outside and in spite of the rest of the industry. So you can't look at a great Mario game and be like, oh, anyone else could do this. Like, it's important that Sony did this. Nintendo's main competition, but also a company that most other companies take their cues from.
I think you are talking yourself into maybe this having a little bit more importance and longevity and in the tail of this, so to speak, than maybe we had thought. If this is a wake-up call to them that they really need to be on top of their shit. Like, they're not the only show in town anymore.
I hope so.
Nintendo will not acknowledge this. They will never care about what this game does.
And you want to talk about the Nintendo bump? We always talk about marquee Nintendo franchises get the 10-point aggregate bump. I would definitely agree. I think Mario Odyssey is an 87, not a 97. I think Sony bumps are more like in the 5-point range. Generally speaking, God of War is probably a 90, not a 95.
The respective bumps. What a funny turn of phrase.
Bend over, show me your respective bumps, Nick.
Are you the doctor? Why are you from New York?
Turn your head and cough.
They're not respective.
They call me Dr. Love, dude. I'll bend over. I've got my glove gun. This joke has layers, dude.
Please just don't look it up. File for malpractice.
Oh, man.
Glover reboot when?
Oh, Glover gun.
Oh,
The next Call of Duty skin I can buy in Warzone. Fucking
I'll be your Glover, baby.
Drew, thank you for joining us and chatting. I love chatting games with you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again.
We'll have to figure out what our next semi-quarterly playthrough with Drew Stevens will be.
Quick question. Do you guys have time for a game?
Yo! Drew, do you have time?
I got time.
Oh my God. If I could have like a brief bathroom break and I'll like bring in my bowl of pasta for when it's not my turn. That would be ideal. I just like, it's 8:45. I need some fuel. I got to be at the top of my brain game. I've never won critical hits. I don't know if that's what we're doing, but maybe this is the week.
Drew, Lindsay says that you sitting in the dark is terrifying.
I got dumb lights. It's not my fault.
You know, you could buy more lights, right?
Let me actually see here. Oh, that works.
A second light. It's lit.
I'm at house. I don't got money for lights.
I see multiple Star Wars figures that cost in the hundreds of dollars.
No, you don't.
You could just go to IKEA, spend $50 on a floor lamp. I don't know. Fellas,
Give it to me.
Yeah.
I've gathered you here today. I've delayed our parting so that we could play a quick little round of how right, how wrong, how long. Themed upon, of course, the main event himself, our bot, our newcomer to the fray, our Astro Boy, Bot Boy, Astro Bot Boy.
Astro Bot Boy.
A little wrinkle on this scenario that I thought might be interesting is instead of me deciding, hey, you're only doing main plus extra, you're only doing completion. At the beginning of each round, the first person to pick their time will also pick which category will be in that round.
Nice.
So,
Does Drew know how right, how wrong, how long works?
Drew,
Let's go over the rules.
to re-familiarize yourself with these very intensive rules, we're basically guessing how long does this game take to finish, and the categories being off of how long to beat, which is a very useful resource. It is not funded, but it's crowdsourced. People submit their times. They say, hey, it took me this long to beat this game in this fashion. Main is typically like golden path. Think of it as you're not doing anything but beat the game. You're not speed running the game. You're a normal person, but this is like first time you pick up the game. This is how long it would take. Main plus extra, exactly as it sounds. You're not doing everything, but you're doing the fun stuff. So typically longer than just main. And then completion is you're getting 100%. You're grinding out every single little bot. You're getting that platty. You're getting the Nintendo platty, whatever that means to you, etc. So to start this off, because he is our guest, I think it is only but fair that Drew starts us in the first round, which is Astro Bot. So Drew, you get to choose the category and the time. The categories being, again, main plus extra, and completion.
I'm going to go completion, and I think I went right down the middle of the road. I'm going to hit 15 hours. 15
for Drew. Chris.
Okay. I think Drew nailed it. However, I think it's more interesting if you're
going to price it right me, I'm going to be real mad.
Well, okay, I fucked up when we played last and told them what the actual time was. That's on me, but Nick is not going to make the same rookie mistake that I did. He's not going to tell us, but I just want that little bit of wiggle room that, like, if you weren't right, like, we're not in the same position, like, maybe I could be. You said you went completion?
Completion.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 16. Since that was my playtime, I didn't have to grind for anything. I was really thorough in my reruns, like picking up coins. So I feel like that's maybe a little more indicative. 16 hours.
EJ, what is your time selection for the completion of Astro Bot?
15 and a half hours.
EJ splitting that diff right in the 15.5.
Just sliding right into that slot.
Okay, and I will do sort of a rotating, not quite snake selection, but round 2 will be started by Chris. And Chris, I want you to tell me how long it takes and in which category to beat Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh,
That is a great question. I'm going to
I don't even know what 100% is in that game.
999 moons.
But you can just buy half of them. It's cheap.
That's dumb. That's when I stopped playing. It's like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go main. And I'm going to say, how many fucking worlds are in this game? 18 hours.
Okay, let me tabulate this. Making sure everything's all looking good and Gucci. 18 for main. EJ, how long is Super Mario Odyssey to beat Golden Path?
26 and a half hours.
26.5. Drew.
I'm coming in at 21.
21. All right, EJ, you are up next. Round 3. Pick your time, pick your category. 4. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Question. Can I look up my playtime?
No.
Hey, basketball official, can I just walk with the ball in my hands? That's cool, right?
Rift Apart's the second one.
Rift Apart is the one that came on a PS5. So not the second one. It's like the 10th one or whatever.
Sorry, the second of the reboots, okay? Modern era.
I guess. I mean, it's a sequel to the PS3 one, technically, so...
Yeah, and technically it's a, spin-off of the movie reboot, but nobody wants to talk about that. So I'll go main.
Okay.
Rift Apart, we're going to go 18 hours.
EJ has selected main and has chosen 18 hours for his playtime. Drew, how long is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart to beat Golden Path?
Want to say it's a little bit less. You said 18?
He did say 18.
I'm going to go 16. I think it's a little bit less.
Drew has said 16. Now, Chris, how long do you think it takes to beat Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart?
Well, first of all, I think it's super cool that Drew's video is directed by the Wachowski siblings. Straight out of
going on.
Straight out of Matrix 1 right now. But also, can you remind me what year this released?
A couple years ago, right?
Believe it was within the first year or two that
21?
the PlayStation came out.
I think it was 21. PS5 came out in 2020.
Drew said 16.
Drew said 16. EJ said 18.
Oh.
Trust your plums.
15 hours.
15. Going with the low. Now we're wrapping back around.
Those early titles were short.
Drew, how long in which category for Crash Bandicoot 4? It's about time. I don't know if any of you guys actually played this game, but
I have it.
Notable
I played it.
Platformers of the past 7 years or whatever.
I want to say I'm going to go 100% again.
Ooh.
To fully complete. And there's a shitload of stuff to play to this game. I want to go upwards of, I want to say 100%, 60 hours.
60 hours.
That's a good guess. God damn.
Chris, how long does it take to 100% Crash Bandicoot 4? It's about time.
Naturally, I didn't fucking play it either. I own it. Well, Tiffany owns it. I bought it for her for a present. Oh God.
A present this time.
It can't be that much longer than a standard Crash game. There's no fucking way it took me 60 hours to 100% Crash
100% though.
Crash 2.
We're doing 100%.
No, I know, but 60 fucking hours, is that all items or is that also time trials?
Self-reported. It's
100%.
That's rough because 100% for me does not include time trials, and numerically it would not include the time trials on there. So we're 60 hours just to get all of the boxes and all the gems.
No, the time trials would be included in the final percentage on that save. So that would include those.
Oh, they're not on the first 3 though.
Well, you're welcome for the hint.
Great.
He didn't have to do that. You could be swimming in 40 right now.
56.
56 says Chris. Now EJ. You go high, you go low, you go mid.
79 and a half hours.
79.5.
Have I been sandwiched on all of these so far?
Yeah, buddy.
No, you had the low on Astro Bot.
Okay.
I look up almost all of these games, how long to platinum, and they're all just gibberish that float in and out of my gray matter. But there are some of these, and Crash Bandicoot, I swear, was one of them that was like jaw-dropping how long it took. And it could have been any number of other games, but I want to say it was a lot.
Okay, Chris, it's now your turn. How long is Psychonauts 2? And in which category?
100% 38 hours.
100% 38 hours. EJ, how long does it take to 100% Psychonauts 2? Not a game you're looking up very often. I don't know if you ever decided that you want to platinum this game.
30 hours even.
30 even. Drew.
So, as a game that I have not played, I'm glad I went last. What were the other 2 times?
Chris said 38 and EJ said 30.
And this is 100%?
100%. Full completion.
Let's go 42. We'll go a little high.
42. Right on. Okay, and the final game for this round of how right, how wrong, how long goes to our boy EJ deciding. Very funny. Didn't even choose this on purpose. But EJ, how long and in which category is Marvel's Spider-Man 2?
This is actually a trick question. This is a trick question because I recall beating this game several hours under the advertised time. At the time, mind you, this was like launch week, so this number could have totally changed with more reporting. I don't know. So this is actually a little tricky. That's actually a little tricky.
This is a good one to end on.
Let's go main game, and let's go 14 hours.
14 from EJ.
Oh, boy.
Drew.
I don't like the way you said that.
I was right around there, so now I'm like, let's go a little higher. Let's go 17.
17 for Drew. Now, Chris, how long to main? 20.
Chris, what are you looking at down there on your phone, bud?
And kept +3 in. Not
Facebook.
the length of the game.
No, 12.5. Main game.
12.5.
That game's short as fuck. Like,
yeah, but the majority of people are dumb and slow.
Even so, if you just zerged story, yeah, I think that game's real short.
Damn it, that's true. So much of that game is side shit. Damn it.
I think I platinumed it in like 15 or 16 hours. So
yeah, I think
maybe
that's
I fucked
about
up.
where I was. Now that the game's over, I'm gonna let me double check what was my plat time for that.
It doesn't actually show you on the game page, only if it's in recently played.
God, I hate that so much.
So, adding it all up, not a very close game. But I would like to go through round by round just to sort
Please
of
do.
show how far and how close you guys were. So
Enjoy.
first round was Astro Bot, and Drew chose for us main game, or no, completion, excuse me. Drew said 15, Chris said 16, EJ split the difference at 15.5. The actual length as reported on how long to beat is 16. So Chris got the big fat 0
Yes!
on that.
Only win I'm
Damn.
gonna have tonight. I'm savoring it.
We'll see.
Okay.
Super Mario Odyssey. Next up, Chris, you chose for us main game length. You started off with 18. Chris or EJ said 26 and a half, and then Drew said 21. The actual reported length of Super Mario Odyssey for the main game is 12 and a half hours.
Ooh.
Yes! Yes!
Wow.
So EJ was the closest with that one. Or excuse me, I'm doing this math all wrong. What did I even
I
select?
think that's Chris.
Yeah, that is Chris.
I was by
know.
a damn sight.
Hold on.
So Chris won, is what I'm hearing. That's over. 12 and a half hours? What the fuck is that?
Minimum
probably only
required
need,
number of moons.
3 moons to win or something.
Yeah, to get to Bowser, like you need like maybe 75, like maybe 100, but they give you so many.
That should be good. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
Our third game was Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. EJ, you chose for us main game again. You said 18. Drew said 16. Chris said 15. The main game length for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart was 11 hours.
Chris.
So Chris with the W again. The
Wow.
fourth game
Rip.
was Crash Bandicoot 4. And we were going for
This is going to be hilarious. I'm so
Completion.
ready for this.
Drew said 60, Chris said 56, and EJ said 79.5. The actual completion time reported on how long to be is 87 and a half hours.
Yes!
Crash Bandicoot 4.
I knew it was in the
torn.
80s.
I was like, it's between 60. It's either 60 or 80 I should go for.
You've just erased my lead.
Nice one.
You have to have just erased like the entire lead that I had
Definitely.
just
I mean, you lost 31 hours on that. And EJ had -8. So Psychonauts 2 was our next game. Again, going for completion times. Drew said 42. Chris said 38. EJ said 30. And it was 26 and a half.
Oof.
So EJ again with the close miss. Then our final round, obviously, Marvel Spider-Man 2. EJ saying 14, Drew saying 17, and Chris saying 12 and a half. And guess what, Drew? It was 17. You nailed it, bud.
Nice.
Chris and EJ
Finally.
worked themselves into a shoot about how short that game was. Another little fun fact for you. Marvel Spider-Man, the original, also reported 17 hours length. Who knew?
At least they're consistent.
Yeah.
Really?
for main game.
For main game, yeah.
I believe it. Wow. Okay. So then the final tally.
The final tally.
And we really need to.
Well,
Yes.
It's
Crash
kind of
fucked
funny.
me.
EJ wins with 36 off. In second is Chris with 57 off. And Drew with 57 and a half.
Man,
I'll get you
I
next
can't
time.
believe how long Crash 4 is. That's fucking crazy.
You were 31 hours off. You were almost 2 Spider-Mans off. You were 3 Astro Bots off.
I might be misremembering, but I platinum Spider-Man 2 in like 16 hours or something. And the only reason I played an
No.
extra like 2 hours was because I had that glitch trophy at the end that I should have had.
There's no way you did it that soon. Mine's 29 hours.
To share, the completion rating on Spider-Man 2 is 35 hours. So obviously that could be more percentage than platinums because platinums aren't
Yeah.
always 100%.
Wait, where are you seeing this? Because I'm seeing how long to beat 28 hours completion is.
28. Okay, sorry. I got the completion mixed up with the original Spider-Man. But
Okay.
I say Spider-Man 1 felt like a lot longer to me than the second one. Let me see if I can go view my trophies and see if it'll tell me playtime.
Yeah, why the fuck in my games tab does it not give me my play hours? Like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, it's annoying.
I'm sure I can look in the chats.
Booted Spider-Man 2 up for a second, so it gives it to me, and I recently played it.
the GOTY edition for Spider-Man, the original, also is an extra 10 hours, probably because it includes the DLC.
I'm just so glad they didn't lock the platinum behind New Game Plus for this one.
Dude, seriously.
I do have the platinum for my last 3 most recently played games, though, so that's good. Right.
Cowboy.
Our man is consistent.
I have to dive back into the group chat here with Leaf. Here I am bitching that I'm halfway through the platinum after literally 1 day of playing. Oh, that's brutal. I might New Game Plus that. Maybe that's what I'll do before they'll make me say it, Chris.
Say what, EJ?
Maybe I'll go back and New Game Plus Spider-Man before.
We have a KOTOR 2 pod to do first. God damn it, EJ. Nick's even got Final Fantasy 6 underway already, so we've got to do
KOTOR 2 underway, dog. I'm juggling.
He's already started.
Way to bury
Dang.
the lead. Are you through Paragus yet?
That's the lead. No, I just landed on Paragus.
Oh, tight. Okay. He's underway. EJ,
Okay,
you told
okay.
me. You promised.
It's time to
you
start it.
promised me.
It's time to start it.
Thank you.
I'll start it this week. I will start it
Thank
this week.
you.
You know what else you could beat this week before you start something else, EJ?
What's that?
No.
New Game Plus. New Game
Nick,
Plus.
New Game Plus. New Game Plus.
This has been the Console Crusade podcast, and I say has been as in I am no longer a part of this podcast because EJ has edged me on KOTOR 2 for the last time.
Don't worry, I'm here to take over.
No.
Drew, you got to
Drew,
play an
you're
old
in.
bad RPG. Be the guy.
Oh, I'm out now. Sorry.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
We'll get Andy on.
This really has been the Console Crusade podcast, guys. Good chatting. Good yucking.
Solo.to/console crusade. Check out the top 100. Join the Discord. Talk shit about our takes. Celebrate our takes. I don't know.
Somebody go hype Brandon up. He just wants to be excited about games none of us are ever going to play. So
I'm going to play Dragon Quest 3.
Are you, Chris?
Yeah.
Buy a controller with
Dragon-
back paddles first.
No, I'm good.
You don't need Dragon
I've literally
Quest.
only ever wanted to use that one time. We do this every time. I don't need it. I'm not slide canceling in fucking Dragon Quest and Astro Bot and
It does seem like it could be
KOTOR
nice
2.
to move the camera and roll at the same time without claw gripping.
Amazing. Honestly, never having to take my hand off camera control. Amazing.
Well, you'll just have to put that in my hand sometimes so I can get a taste of the glory.
Chris, my back paddles could fucking suck you off and put $100,000 in your bank account. You'd still find a reason to tell me why I was wrong about that opinion. I mean, I'm not going to suck you off with a controller bite. I'm just saying. Chris is gobsmacked right now. Is this cut already?
Absolutely mind bottled.
Chris is literally flabbergasted.
Just the confidence in which you just whipped out, suck you off. Just the phonetic emphasis on that. That's what got me.
$100,000 in your bank account, and you would still find a reason.